Ruth Dyson, the Honourable Ruth Dyson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Well, it's a very sad day for Parliament to be passing legislation that puts us back in terms of changing the social and financial security of older New Zealanders into the future, people who are just children or young people particularly now. It's been a really bad day for the government, actually. It started off particularly bad when Todd McClay, when reading his speech notes for the second reading, said he was reading it on behalf of the Minister of Finance. This legislation is so rushed that the Honourable Todd McClay didn't even know it was in his name. Mr Speaker, I think that's a first for this Parliament. It kept going downhill after that. Honourable Jerry Brownlee suddenly had a rush of blood to the head, told David Bennett that he'd had this rush of blood, and he was taking the next call. Well, David Bennett had a rush of blood to his face. The tension was extraordinary as Jerry Brownlee took David Bennett's call. They could have been advised to take some of his other calls later in the debate. I think it would have helped the National Party's credibility. Mr Speaker, in 2008, John Key made a very serious and consistent promise to the New Zealand public, and that was that there wouldn't be significant changes to the KiwiSaver scheme, despite national voting against it when it was originally introduced in 2006. That broken promise is now matched by the other broken promises about no new taxes or delivering a surplus. I don't know how new National Party members feel about, going out, and I'm sure they had every honest intention. How do they feel about going out and then turning out to have lied to people? How do they justify that? How do they say, that's okay, I'll just go back to my electorate and forget what I said? People remember. I think that members of Parliament should have a conscience about what they committed to, and if there is some genuine reason for them not being able to deliver a promise, or heaven forbid breaking it, they must have the courage of their convictions to go back to their constituency or to the people around where they live if they're a list MP and explain that to them. But I don't think one national backbencher will do that. They're just voting fodder. They're just being used as voting fodder, and none of them seem to have had the courage to question or stand up to the people who made the decision.
Order.
My understanding is that a very small number of Cabinet made these decisions around this legislation, and that's a very bad place for us to be. Mr Speaker, I just want to conclude by saying that helping the most vulnerable people in our society is a good thing, but it doesn't ever need to be, and it shouldn't ever be, at the cost of young savers just a couple of rungs up the ladder. That's what this KiwiSaver legislation does, and that's why I'm very proud to have my name on the no side and be voting against this bill.